at his beautiful face.
His first year as a district manager was not the same as the next year, the year after. And I'm going to kind of let him get into kind of his story a little bit more. But he's got a fantastic story, but he will go down. He is the top manager ever in Washington. No office in Washington has ever done the amount that he did when he was with, I forget, it was Kirkland office there. It was the title of it. Kirkland Bellevue, same thing, doing over $1.6 million. I believe his top summer PRs was over 200 PRs in one summer, not even the year, right? One of his greatest accomplishments, got Judy and Joffrey to work together, right? They're in the same office, right? He's done some amazing things, and he's a good buddy too. So I'm excited to hear from him. And you guys, it was the last time we were texting was like a day before the last Leadership Academy.
Okay.
And I was sharing their text with the group. I'm like, oh, we got to get this guy speaking on here. And so it's awesome that you're here right after. So
thank you. Appreciate it.
Got Roger up there in Alaska. This is Roger.
What's up, boss? Long time,
bro.
He's in Korea right now.
Okay. Homeland.
Here is in Eastern Oregon University, one of Roger's guys too.
Okay. And then just so I can kind of know everybody, if you guys could say your name, your current position, and like your ultimate goal with the company, just so I kind of understand the audience who I'm speaking with, that'd be awesome.
Charlie Haas, Division Office Manager, and the goal is just being best to you.
Okay.
Nick O'Donnell, I'm an assistant manager at Bellevue, and I'm branching this next summer.
Sweet.
Austin, district manager now, eventually to go to UVM.
Okay.
Anastasia, hoping to branch this summer.
Okay. Okay.
Alexis from the Bellevue office, helping us to be able to branch.
Okay. And then
unmute me.
So my name is Anna. I'm in the Anchorage office. I'm the sales manager for Roger. I'm going to be branching this next summer, and then hopefully the summer after I'll go district manager.
I'm Garrett. I branched this last summer. Now I'm just kind of selling and trying to focus on getting ready for next summer.
I'm Hayden. I'm the assistant manager in Anchorage. My goal right now is to prepare for my branch the best that I can.
Awesome.
All right. I'm want to be like you.
Get out of here.
Always, bro. Know that.
Hey, so listen, I'm really glad I'm here. Thanks for the invite, and I kind of forced my way in here, just so you know. And first off, I think it's pretty savage that it's like 8:15 p.m. on a Saturday, and here all of you are. And those are some of the times and the work ethic I miss for sure, working with the Vector and whatnot. So, and just so everybody knows in this room and on the video, dude, technology is crazy. You can just have meetings now like this. This is amazing. I've been each one of your positions, and even branch manager. Technically, I was never a branch manager, but my first summer as a DM, I ran an office for the summer, and then I just didn't run an office for the fall or spring. I believe I had a $777 a month. And Tom Skowski even asked Isaac, my division manager, is like, hey, is John like actually open, like doing business? Nobody knew. I didn't even know. And so I was a branch my first summer. My first summer launched 54 recruits. There was no PR program at the time. And we did a little over 124,000. And then I ended the whole year at 140. So that gives you an idea. My fall campaign was about 15,000. And so I guess really, my path with the company, and I'll just kind of go through the path I took, and then I'll kind of go through where I'm at today and why I'm so appreciative of Vector Marketing and why it's been able to help me get to where I'm at today. And so, yeah, my first summer, I just, I basically just took whatever came in, and I didn't understand being proactive and going out and getting the recruits. And I'll be honest, in 2004, when I was a DM for the first time, that was a transition of print just dying off, newspapers, right? So back in the day, like Tacoma office here, they used to post an ad in the Seattle Times and the Tacoma newspaper, and 3,000 phone calls would come in. And those days are no longer in existence because, again, print just died off. And so I became right at that point And that's where basically people had to figure out, okay, are you going to adapt and thrive, or are you just going to kind of go with whatever's happening and just let it be, right? So my second summer, that's when I realized, okay, so if the touchdowns are going to come to me, I got to go out and get them. And so that's when personal recruiting became a thing. And so, yeah, I think we increased from like 54 recruits to almost 100 maybe. And my first full year, we did about 270. And then we went to 490, and then 780, 860, 1 million, and then 1.6. And then I had a few years it just kind of toppled right around there. So the biggest catalyst obviously was personal recruiting, but beyond the actual action stuff, what really helped me out was my mindset. And I'm sure you guys talk about it all the time. In fact, marketing is all about the mindset. Skill set, for sure, it's important. And so there's a few takeaways that I would like probably leave with you guys today. So one of the most defining moments for me was when I learned and studied a little bit Brian Tracy. And so this was within my first couple of years. So Brian Tracy, and I don't know all the exact numbers, but you'll get the point. And so he basically wanted to study human behavior, and he wanted to know what made people successful. And so he visited over 40 different countries, and it took him over 2 years to do this study. And he studied young people, old people, rich people, educated, uneducated. He studied the whole spectrum of human beings in every single different culture you can imagine. Now, spending over 2 years doing something like this, you would expect this man to come back with a huge thesis of what he found. And he only discovered basically one thing, that no matter where he went, there were always going to be successful people and unsuccessful people. Both groups know what they don't feel like doing. Successful people just did it anyways. And that was a huge game changer in my mind, because for a long time I fought it. I'm like, oh, I don't feel like doing it, so I just want to do it. But once I understood that it's okay to not feel like doing something, but you just do it anyways, because that's where you separate success between the unsuccessful people, right? And so I applied that in my office with the assistant managers, and it slowly trickled down with the sales reps. It really had to start with the top with me, or the division office manager, or the branch manager, or the district manager, whoever it is that's that leader in that office. And so really that was the biggest game changer. And it still applies in my life every single day. Today, and 100% of the time, I do not feel like working out. And so today I did not feel like working out, but I just did it anyways, because it's just the right thing to do for my purpose, right? And so I would say, so that's the first thing, is so you have to basically always have to understand it's okay to not feel like doing something, but just do it anyways. Make that PR call, make that PDI call, do the whatever it needs to happen for the day for your office or for yourself. And once you can master that in vector, oh my gosh, it applies in every other area of your life. I promise you, you will be a better brother, better daughter, better whatever that you guys are doing on a daily basis. So that's that. And then another defining moment for me was having the right perspective, right? And so I don't know if any of you have seen the movie The Blind Side, but this was also kind of a defining moment. I used to use this video all the time in my meetings. But there's a scene in The Blind Side where Robert Orr, I believe it is, Michael Orr, thank you. And so basically when he first started playing football, he wasn't that good on the field. He wasn't blocking very well. They're sacking the quarterback, the running back, whatever. And then Sandra Bullock's character comes down to the field and talks to him. And she's like, listen, and she knew him, she knew his core, who he is to the core, and honored his core in being protective, right? And so she said, listen, that quarterback is basically like me. That defense are people that want to hurt me. So do you want anybody to ever hurt me? And he's like, no. He goes, well, that defense wants to hurt the quarterback. See the running back? That's like your little brother, CJ. Do you want anybody to ever hurt your little brother? He's like, no. She's like, well, that's who you need to protect from the defense. And then the next few scenes, he is absolutely crushing the defense. Here's the best part of that story for me and why perspective is so important. He didn't get faster. He did not get bigger. His perspective changed. And that was a big game changer for me personally when I was running the office, was when my perspective changed, right, on why I'm running that office. So what is your perspective on what you're doing? And so for me in the very beginning, it was like, okay, I was just going through the motions or whatever. But then I realized, you know what? A lot of my friends made fun of me for like selling knives. And a lot of my friends, my mom actually doubted me running an office. She's like, they're going to pay you and rely on you to have other people rely on you. I was like, yes, that's what they're going to do. And so my perspective was that I wanted to prove my friends wrong, that this could work. And ultimately, I don't want to prove my mom wrong, but I just want to show my mom that I can be a responsible adult and can actually be a leader and lead other people. And once I had that right perspective of why I'm running my office, game changer. It's a lot easier to make those right decisions on a daily basis. And then the third thing was the compelling reason. And so at every level of running your business or being a manager, there's gonna be different compelling reasons, but you gotta have one. And that compelling reason has to be more important than your alarm clock. And so one of the most defining ones in our office in Kirkland was, I was really good friends with Peter Vood, who ran the Tacoma office. And so we used to compete and battle. And so it just got to the point where, you know, Michael Jordan says competition brings out the best in people. So it got to the point where we borderline almost didn't like each other. We still respected each other. And we still talk from time to time. And he will literally tell me, you were my greatest competition ever, right? But it got to the point where I'm like, I just do not like this guy because I need to beat him. And I kid you not, I wish I could have set an alarm that just had his voice talking, because I would have woke up no problem. Because I don't know about all of you, but I used to snooze a lot. You know what I mean? Snooze, snooze, snooze. Like whatever you got going on in the morning. And 10K Alliance, my first 2 summers, I didn't run them as a district manager. I'm like, I gotta get up early, go to the office at 7 o'clock, try to make college kids make a bunch of phone calls. I don't want to get up. But then summer of 2009, something flipped because of that compelling reason. I wanted to beat Peter so bad that it made me do anything, right? And so what I would do later tonight is figure out, okay, what is the perspective? What is your perspective? And if you have the right one, I guarantee you it will flip that switch in a problem just like it did for Michael Orr. Again, he did not get bigger, he did not get stronger, just something flipped in his mind of protecting the quarterback and the running back, right? And then what is your compelling reason? And it can't be just like, you can have goals. I'm all about goals. Goals are good, but it's gotta be that one compelling reason that will defeat procrastination and laziness and fear. Those are the only 3 things that are ever gonna hold you back from doing anything successful in this company or in life. And I'm telling you, the compelling reason that will beat those 3 things up every single day. And so those are the 2 things you gotta figure out. What is your perspective of why you're here? And what is your compelling reason? What is that? And it can only be yours, right? And then just at the office level, if you have that compelling reason, that could be shareable in a group setting. So basically, I just turned it from like, I want to crush Peter to we want to crush Tacoma. And so like our first weekend special, I literally called it Beat the Tacoma Office Special. I mean, that's how we rolled. And so the whole office had that one single rally point. And so that's something else you got to have as an identity for your office is, what is your rally point going to be this summer? What is that going to be? And start working on it. And so wherever you're branching. And then, and just so all of you know, you're so blessed being in your position you are in right now. And here's what I mean. There was a time where we were trying to squeeze off branch territories out of towns that probably were not branch territories. And you guys probably have some nice pickings of where you would want to go. And I'm not joking. Like, we made a branch territory out of Monroe, or a branch office in Monroe, because we already had one in Linwood and in Everett, and we're just trying to find spots because we have so many good people. Trust me, if I could be your age again and be in the situation you're in, it could not be a better situation or scenario for anybody in Bedford marketing instead of Washington coming up. Alaska, I'm gonna assume it's the same thing. And so yeah, that's that. And then let me look at my notes real quick. I had probably a couple more things. Yeah, and then one other guru, right? Tony Robbins, biggest takeaway there, and this helped me out a lot also, and this is what really helped with the PRs. He said that consistency is the mother of all skills. Consistency is the mother of all skills. And so if you want to get really good at PRs, that's what we had to do in our office, was be consistent every single day, every single week. And so if you really think about that, that also what separates the cream of the crop from the bottom, right? And so you think about baseball players, any kind of athlete, right? It's the consistent ones, the consistent winners, right? So that's why Tony Robbins says it doesn't matter what your skills are, it's consistency is the mother of all skills. And then just as you are all on your path and whatever ends up happening, I look back at all of my district managers that I've promoted, and it's funny, I was just, so beyond the friendships and just being close to these people, I love looking back and knowing that all of my sales managers and district managers today are absolutely crushing it. And so I look at, man, I just saw one tonight, Mike Wow, absolutely crushing it at a startup company. And then I saw Shane, who was one of my first sales managers. He just moved to Denver, got a big promotion with Zillow. And here's a cool story about Shane. He was my sales manager in 2006. And then he actually went out, ran his own office as a district manager, failed. But just because you shut down doesn't mean you fail, because he learned a crap ton during that time. He humbled himself, came back and worked with me, went out for a second time as a DM, failed, right? But just a month ago, he got a promotion with Zillow. He's now a director. His base salary is 190 grand base. And I hung out with him last weekend, or the first week in November. I went down to Denver to hang out with him, with Michael Al, and his girlfriend lives down there. And what was amazing to watch is the guy is working on a Sunday while we're all watching football. And I'm just looking behind his shoulder. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm just making up schedules. And then on his notes, he's got the same verbiage as Vector. He's got, oh, I got my PCs. Yeah, I'm doing my PDI. And then we went to the hockey game Friday night, and he's on the phone doing a PDI call. Because he's brand new to that director role, and he's managing 3 teams in the whole office of Denver. And so the skills you're going to learn, I told Ryan a few weeks ago, I said, dude, they could have paid me $0. Now I'm looking back, and I still would have done it. I wouldn't change a damn thing today, because on a daily basis, I tell myself, I'm like, thank God for Vector, I would not have handled that situation well. And it's funny because you bring up Judy and Joffrey. That never changes no matter where you go in life, and whether it's in business, family, friends. But I've learned how to manage emotions and manage relationships and ultimately manage people. And I'm telling you, the amount of value you will bring to a company, it's enormous if you learn how to manage people. And that's what you're doing every single one of your roles. And even if you're running a small branch office somewhere, even if you only impact 30 people for the summer, 40 people, 50 people, whatever it is, you are literally managing people on a resume, game changer. And to be honest, a lot of my top reps that almost made it to run an office, and I'm friends with a lot of them on Facebook, obviously. It's black and white comparison on what they're doing with their lives. And I still love them to death, get invited to weddings, more weddings than I ever want to be going to. But it's a whole nother level of my sales managers and my district managers and my branch managers that went out. Huge. And so, and I'm going to see a couple other guys, Zach Beckison and Jake Schmidt. And these guys are in the 6 figures. And the first number is not just a 1. I mean, and Jake is crazy. So I was in his wedding a little over a year ago, November. And since then, he just got a job with his accounting company. And I'm like, do you even know anything about accounting? He's like, no, dude, I don't know anything. I'm like, why are they paying you $180,000 in Salem, Oregon? Like, they pay that kind of money in Salem, Oregon? He's like, dude, this company's legit. But they hired him. Why? Because he was a district manager. He knows how to manage people. It doesn't matter if he knows the product or if he can sit there and be gap compliant and do all this accounting stuff. That doesn't matter. What matters is, can he lead the sales team and then help them grow to hit the sales numbers? That value amount there, to them, 180 grand in Salem. It's insane, right? So your resume that you're building right now, that's the most powerful paycheck, in my opinion, for your future. Because most likely you're not going to be a district manager in your 40s and 50s. So you got to ask yourself, what am I going to be doing in my 40s and 50s or in my later 30s? Well, you're going to set yourself up for massive success if you guys do it right here, do it now, and do it right. And then, and income-wise, yeah, I joke around with Ryan, and obviously, and I hate, and to be honest, I do kind of hate talking about it, but it's important because I remember when I was a district manager and I heard numbers, I'm like, oh my God, okay, that's pretty sweet. Yeah, it's, you know, the income is great. And so I don't know what happens these days with bonuses or whatever. And I was raised in Vector with these things called quantum growth bonuses, and I totally worked the system on that one. I didn't work the system. I just grew a lot every single year, but I just felt bad for the guys like Casey, who was already doing $1 million. I was doing like 300,000. You double, you get this huge amount of money. It's easier to double 300K to 600 than $1 million to 2. Yeah, income-wise, yeah, that was exciting for me. And the cool thing about this company is that the more people you help, the more you get paid. I mean, it's a win-win. It really is. So you should not feel bad about the money and the income opportunities. But yeah, my biggest years as a district manager, over 300,000, 1099. You know, I had 3 years in a row, I got close to $1 million. And I mean, that's absolutely mind blowing. Now that I look back, I'm like, dude, I can't believe they paid us that much money just to help people. That's literally all we did was help people every single day. And so, yeah, that's what I got for you. And honestly, I hope you guys questions.
You guys have questions for John?
What's up?
So at the beginning, you rattle off your first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth pretty quick. Your first was 125, second was 270, third was what?
So the first
490.
First summer and fall combined was 140.
Got it.
So it was 140, and then 270. It's crazy. I still know those numbers, dude. 490.
Yeah.
It's like
780.
7 years.
Yeah, I think it was 7. And then from 780 it was 860, and then $1 million, and then 1.6.
You went from $1 million to 1.6.
Yeah, we were trying to go from 1 to 2, be the first office ever to do it, but it was just real hard.
Going from 1 to 1.6. First off, how much of that 1.6 was new business?
All of it. Yeah, we did like $1 million new. All of it was new. Yeah, like pretty much all the growth. Yeah, because we went from launching. God, I don't know how many PRs, but it was almost 200. I think it was like 189.
Okay.
So we went from like, I think it was like 130 PRs to like 189 or something.
90 of them in August.
Oh yeah, dude, it was insane. But you guys have the best. Well, this area specifically, August is the best because your kids haven't gone back to school yet for most of it. And so, I mean, we hit peak banquet like in the first week and a half of September.
When you were a district manager, we had the app where you just press the buttons and it sends the text to everybody.
No, dude.
That's what happens now.
My assistant managers and my reception, I had 3 receptionists that summer. Yeah, I made the kids handwrite. My PR section was 45 minutes. It would take me 15 minutes to eloquently explain it where they're like, oh shoot, this makes sense. I will empty out my phones. And I literally averaged 60 names, but I had to, that was a precursor for the rest of the domino effect to happen. Because my AMs and receptionists, if I had an off week, they're like, dude, what are the 10? What is this? What are you doing? They held me accountable.
They don't know what receptionists are. They don't have this.
Oh, okay.
Did they work for free for you?
No, we had to pay those people. Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so the $600,000 increase is mostly new, or most of the 1.6 was new?
No, the 1.6 we did $1 million new.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was $1 million new. But I would say most of that 600,000 growth from 1 to 1.6 was new.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So what was the intentionality? What was the increase?
Well, so the goal was to go from 1 to 2 million. And the rally point for the office at that point, because we were at the top, so I couldn't do another special that says beat the blank office special. Like we crushed everyone in Washington. And so at that point, it was just, we wanted to be the first office in company history to go from 1 million to 2 million. Had never been done before. So that was the compelling reason, the big arching goal for the whole squad.
For sure.
And that's what got everybody bought in. Towards the end of the year, obviously got a little rough because we weren't going to hit it. But at that point, we were also not going to win Silver Cup. It was really close. And so, yeah.
Gotcha.
John,
What's up? When am I gonna see you again, dude?
You still have me on your Google Voice or what?
Oh man.
You guys remember I said about haven't seen anybody in a while, so I'm gonna see him.
No, I'm gonna try to get down there. I'll give you a call.
Yeah, man, hit me up, dude. We'll hang out for sure. Yeah, I was gonna try to go down to
You need to
Janessa's.
come up here and visit me finally.
Dude, what's there to do up there? I'm just joking. No, I'm honest with you, like, just joking. My coworker is from Alaska.
All right, that's it. Yeah. Nah, but I'll get down there.
Okay.
I mean, it's easier.
Oh yeah. I totally forgot. So I work with a startup company. And so basically, I've been there for about 3.5 years. And so my owner, smart, she created the first share rental pool for home furniture for staging. And so, like in the Seattle market here, with a couple warehouses, we basically have a bunch of. You guys know what staging is before homes are sold? Okay, so we have hundreds of stagers, realtors, and builders that pull in all of their inventory and their furniture into our warehouse, and then we just manage it and they share rent from each other. What's really cool is whoever owns the furniture, we pay that person. 30% of the rental income we collect. Nowhere in the world you can own furniture, put it in a warehouse, literally do nothing, and just get paid. And so the return on investment is absolutely insane. She's the first to market, still the only one. The reason being is because of software, we had to build it from scratch because there's lots of barcoding and scanning systems out there. Grocery store, for example, you scan stuff in and out, whatever, but there's no commission aspect backing it, the accounting. So we had to build it from scratch because our truck may leave full with 100 pieces of furniture. Not only do we have to keep track and scan where all 100 pieces of furniture go, but now on the back end, we have to pay up to 100 different people the 30% commission. Super unique business model. So I got hooked up with the owner 3.5 years ago, and thank goodness for Vector, because she started me off at $3,000 a month salary, no commission. So you all think about that for a minute, where I came from, okay, making over 300 grand some years, to saying, oh, cool, yeah, pay me $3,000 a month, no commission, totally fine. But I understood it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And I saw the opportunity with the startup company where I'm just like, dude, if this thing makes it, this is gonna be huge. And then she and I had an agreement that with my background, eventually, like, I would just manage all of the sales managers in every location, and we can scale this thing to a couple hundred. National sales managers are a thing, but help me make sure we can make these standalone locations be super profitable. And so that's what we did. Right after I got there, we went from less than 800,000. Immediately, first year after I got there, we did 1.2 million. And I'm like, thank God for Vector, constantly, right? And then what's funny is our sales strategy, we go after realtors, right? So my first phone call were to CGCs, because that's literally exactly what they do. And so, and I just met with one out of West Frank's office, Jenny something. Yeah, and so basically, at every level of the job I've done in the past 3.5 years has been so doable and possible because of Vector. And I kid you not, I would not be here if it weren't for my Vector experience. And within the first 6 months, I didn't even ask. And within the first, well, after the first 2 months, she's like, okay, here's your commission pay. Here's how you're gonna get paid. I'm like, thank you, because that was a cool month. 3,000 a month, no commission. And we still joke around about it, but yeah, but now it's nice. But also she gave me equity. And that was a long-term goal of mine. It's like, if I ever left Vector, I want to like own something. I want to be a part owner of something. And literally just, she just said, hey, here's X amount of thousands and thousands of shares of stock. And I want you to keep doing what you're doing, because we're not going to grow this thing without you. And there have been multiple times we go to different meetings and talking with investors. And it's really nice to have her say, like, we wouldn't be here if it weren't for John. And then in my mind, I wouldn't be here if it weren't for Vector Marketing. I mean, that's just straight up. And so on a daily basis, just from the sales to just managing people and just my work ethic. And she's just blown away, like, on how hard I worked. And I remember my parents stopped by the warehouse to buy some furniture. We had a big sale. And the first thing Trisha, my owner, said is, oh my gosh, your son has the best work ethic I've ever seen. And I'm like, well, thank goodness for Vector, right? And so all roads for me personally, any accolade, any compliment I get from my owner or this company I work for now, all roads lead back to Vector marketing. And if it weren't for that foundation, I would not be where I'm at today. And so
it was funny. I was sitting with Trisha, his owner, with about 4 other investors in a room, and she said, and she was going through the staff, and she said, John Bedford, it's like, this guy is a bulldog like you wouldn't believe. Like his work ethic. And she looked at me, and she's like, well, you know, because you know I was Cutco. But she took like a couple minutes to explain what hard work really was talking about. It wasn't like, oh, this guy just works, you know, normally. Like this guy puts in after hours, he's on his phone. It's like she was explaining. She had to explain to investors like how hard this guy really works. And they were like, wow, you could see the impressed face. These are other guys that like, they sit in on that type of stuff all the time. You could see how impressed they were from that. But you could see how much she valued John and what he really brings to the table.
yeah, and it's crazy because that's not who it was ever before Vector Marketing. I mean, in college, I mean, I was that guy who waited till the last minute, partied way too much, but still got really good grades, waiting till the last minute. That's what I did. And and I'm not knocking college. My parents paid for it, so anytime I talk bad about college, my mom and dad are like, "Excuse me, like what?" No, that degree, sure, it's useful in a lot of different areas of my life, sure. But at the end of the day, I mean, college taught me how to cram, procrastinate, wait to the last minute, and barely get success, right? But then back to marketing happened, and that's why I want to be a district manager. My first 3 months in that Bellingham office, I was like, why am I getting up early to make phone calls? This is not me. And I noticed the personal growth in me in 3 months was more than all 4 years of college combined. So that's why I told Jake Vallejo, my district manager, I'm like, I want to do what you do. And he wasn't making a lot of money at the time. He was brand new. And I didn't care. We had the smallest office. And I was like, but I want to do what you do because you help me. If you help a guy like me, I mean, this company, this platform, it's amazing what you'll be able to do. And I saw the transformation of other college students and high school students around me. And so I knew that was the place for me for sure. So, yeah.
Any last things for John?
What was your PR program?
PR program. I mean, we just had a lot of people calling, and so at the end of the day, I don't know how the program works today, and I don't know how they'll morph, but
You would probably throw a chair to the window.
I mean, I can imagine with technology too. It's just like,
app sends it.
yeah. So
All
here's,
text.
so my kids have flip phones, right, for the most part, and so they flip up the phone, and then I had them handwrite the first and last name and phone number of every single one of their friends. That's why it took my approach 15 minutes and then 30 minutes for them to keep writing. But that approach, that was the precursor of getting them to feel comfortable, like this is a legitimate thing to do. Because when I first started, they're like, oh, it's kind of sketch. But once you eloquently explain it, they're like, oh, it makes perfect sense. So.
And as for your compelling reason, you said it was to beat the Tacoma office, but what was your kind of reason before you? Because that only came about once you were already running the office.
Yeah.
So how did you find your reason to actually get started?
Man, I mean, to be honest, I probably didn't really have one, which is why my first summer was like so low, and why my first fall campaign was a whopping 15,000 CPO. And so I think that was a part of the issue of me. That's why, I mean, I literally just, I mean, Isaac would call and I just won't even answer because I'm like, well, I'm not running interviews today. What training? Like, I think I launched like 2 kids in the fall, right? And so, but I would say my first full year, I think my compelling reason really became my sales managers that I had developed. So Zach, Bellingham office I shut down. He had nowhere to go. So he came and he was a sales manager for me in my first summer. I'm like, oh shoot, like there's another person relying on me. Like he's making whatever percentage he was as a sales manager. I don't know what it is these days, but I mean that his income to go back to Wazoo, like that depends on me and my performance as a district manager. So I think my natural core of wanting to help people kind of came out. And then my guys really became my compelling reason, I guess, in the beginning. Yeah, I think so. And honestly, that's probably why also, like, I was the best man at Zach's wedding. I was the best man at Jake's wedding. I was a groomsman at Nick Fast's wedding, and I'm gonna be a groomsman at Michael and Shane's weddings for sure. And that's what 5 Vector people right there. But that's just how much I cared about my guys.
You guys know Nate Holt, Zach Becky's is Nate Holt's manager, so you can still see influence from John.
Yeah, the trickling effect. You gotta love on your people, take care of them for sure. Yeah, but yeah, and then for the office, I don't know. We probably didn't have one at the time. Yeah, but these are all things I learned down the road. So hopefully, if you guys can get it down now, especially as a branch manager. I mean, if you can get that right from the get-go, it's gonna be important. So,
Question for you. So I know you and I talked back in the day. I still remember the conversations of me giving you a call and trying to figure out the PR game. And I remember watching your parts of training of you doing your PR talk and whatnot. And that really resonated with me. Just looking back at how much emphasis I put on PRs. 2 of my guys that are sitting here next to me today, Anna, she's on Zoom. And like, it's funny because I think about where did that come from? And it really all comes back to you.
it's awesome, man.
Right? And I asked myself, what is it that you feel, if you give like one big tip that can help trigger something for these people? And the reason why I bring this up is because you've had the opportunity to help develop and train people at a high level, right? Was there anything that you can throw at these guys that's going to help them just like kind of either turn that dial to get the ball rolling?
Yeah. Honestly, man, it just goes back to that compelling reason of flipping the switch. And so, I mean, I guess I'll just dive into more details of what happened with Peter. I mean, he and I are friends, by the way, and we used to travel a bit. And maybe Ryan will even tell you of one of our trips to Dominican Republic. And so, yeah, we used to travel a lot, man. I mean, I think there was one year we literally took probably 9 trips together. So we're good friends now. But there was a time in 2009 where I kind of got stagnant. So you guys will realize the growth pattern went from like 780 to 860. That was really low compared to all my other years, right? So I got a little stagnant. And so the company trip, we were at dinner and Peter just started talking mad smack to me. And he got me so mad that I literally stood up and he I forgot what he said, but he tossed his debit card at me, basically saying I'm a whatever and I make so much more than you off a new business. You're a little whatever. And I'm just I stood up and I was like, oh, I walk outside. Joe Janessa actually walked outside with me. And he's like, dude, what was that? I was like, you just wait. You wait till we get back. And that was March. And then, yeah, as soon as we got back, dude, there was no question if I'm running 10K lines. Am I running a PR program? Am I doing this? Am I doing that? Like Peter is going to get destroyed in my mind. And so that was my compelling reason. The reason why it's hard for me to share that is because it's hard to replicate for all of you. That's why I'm saying you got to find something else. You got to find another compelling reason. But it literally crushed any kind of procrastination, fear, or laziness out of my system. Because anytime I'm like, okay, do I want to do a 10K lines? Oh, Peter, yes, I do. And so, and if you actually study a little bit of Michael Jordan, I mean, that was his thing. Competition brings out the best, right? And a lot of athletes, that's actually why a lot of them actually talk a lot of trash, because they have to put themselves out there having said that. So now they have to back it up. So then the next day, oh, do I want to practice hard? Well, I just said I'm going to be the best, or I'm going to beat this guy, or I'm going to do this. So that's why a lot of athletes will verbally say something, because then on the back end holds them accountable because they said it. They don't want to look like an idiot. So whatever your compelling reason is, and that's what's going to ultimately flip the switch. For me personally, that's what it did for me. And so that's why it can only be yours. It has to be your compelling reason. And so if you have a mom that's super doubtful, and by the way, use that as motivation. And my mom basically cried when she came to my Hall of Fame speech. And I mean, it was a rough couple of years when I was running the office, because she also saw me struggling. She's like, why are you still doing this? You're not making any money. I'm like, Mom, you don't understand the long-term picture. You don't understand the sacrifices made today, the seeds I'm planting today. And so ultimately she got to see that. And that was a big motivator down the road for sure. But compelling reason, that's what's going to flip the switch. That's going to be step one. Like, you know, you work on your skill sets later, you know, like, you know, training, interviews, whatever. But the mindset is what's going to make you actually put in the effort to get better at those things anyways. So compelling reason.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because I think about back when I was, you know, when I had first, you know, because obviously we both were really good friends with Joe and Carl and all these guys. And I remember Carl and Joe be like, dude, yeah, you want to talk to this dude. You know what I mean? And I just remember looking at what you were doing, and I'm like, damn. And I think about right now where we are current today, right? And I talked about PRs earlier today. And when I came back to the business, you know, I left for quite some time, and I came back, and that first summer, like, just garbage. You know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
Garbage. And going out, and I'm like, okay, I think I got some traction, and it's just making that decision to be better, right? And not settle for that mediocrity. You know what I mean? I think about where we are right now, and it's funny you bring that up, that moment where you got up with Peter. I can imagine the words that were exchanged. I mean, yeah.
I'll get there really G-rated.
Right. No, for sure. But I think about, as I'm flying back from Olean, and I'm flying back from just I was so grateful for people like you and the people I've had in my past. And then I think about with this meeting today, it just reminds me, puts me back in that state of mind. Like, I'm so grateful for the experiences that I've had personally and the people that have helped me come up in the business, but also like having the opportunity to be able to talk about PRs, having the opportunity to talk about the things I've talked about today at this meeting. And I'm like, I heard you guys, I mentioned to everybody in the room earlier when I gave my talk on PRs, it's like going, right, you heard of Dragon Ball Z, right? Right, when you go Super Saiyan, right? There's levels, right? And I'm flying back from Olean, and I'm just pissed. Like, literally, and you know what I mean by this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm right now, like, my mind, I wake up and I'm like, I need to go more. I need to go more. I need to go more, right? And I'm like, it like sometimes it's seeping through to my people, and it's like more, and they'll tell you, and they'll nod their head, more. And I just think about that stuff. So I'm definitely grateful for you sharing that stuff, man. It really means a lot to me. Guys, like, I can tell you that this guy is a stand-up guy. You know, I think about what he's done for me. And every time I do PRs and I'm doing my PR talk, guess who I'm thinking about? No joke. I swear to God. You know, I remember the days listening to your PR talk. But, you know, one of the things I want, you know, like, I want to tell Casey, I want to tell Austin that this for me, and I don't know if Casey's noticed this, but has brought my game to a different level. It really has. You know, and I definitely want to level up. And, dude, I want to go like Super Saiyan, just like walking in fire. You know what I mean?
For sure, man. Hey, we should stay in touch, though. Give me a call sometime.
I will.
Yeah, give John a big thanks for helping. All right. Well, Drew, we will see you guys